Hey, what up, y'all? It's me, your boy, Lil D, coming at you from the den with another nursing video. And today I want to talk about difficult family members at the bedside. Now, before we get into the video, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post nursing related videos 1 to 2 times a week. If you have any suggestions for some nursing related videos, go ahead and leave those in the comments down below. But yeah, let's get into it. So this week I got a report on one patient in specific, and I came back into the room because I get on my unit at 7 o'clock. By the time I look stuff up and get in the patient's room with medications or to see the patient again after bedside shift report, it's about 8 o'clock. So I went into the patient's room at 8 o'clock, and there was this family member there waiting for me who wasn't there at 7. But I came in, I was like, "Good morning, I'm David," his nurse, and she just went in. She was like, "I'm very, very irritated. I'm very upset. I am not happy with the care." And I'm like, "Okay," because this was my first day with the patient. I was like, "Okay, well, I'm David. I'm going to be his nurse today. And what's the problem? What is going on?" Because as nurses, we're kind of like, we're the face. We're the person who knows the most about the patient, and when family has a problem, they're going to come to you. They're not going to go to the nursing assistant. If they go to the charge nurse is going to have to look everything up and is not really familiar with the care. So everything kind of falls back onto the nurse. And even though you can get them to talk to the doctors, that also goes through the nurse. Now, I was in a good mood this morning, which I normally am, but I had my coffee, I was feeling good, I had been off of work for a couple days, so I stood there patiently, and meanwhile, respiratory came in and they were doing breathing treatment, but she was going in for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm just standing there saying, okay, not really giving her much feedback because I didn't have much to give her, just letting her vent. And just the way she was presenting herself and the way she was coming for me and explaining things, I could tell that it wasn't really personally related to me, which is kind of hard to do in the beginning as a nurse, is to detach yourself from that and not take any of these things personally. But I could see that this family member was really struggling, and she really had some of her own problems. So I really tried to stay calm and let her finish, and I did. And at the end, you could see that the relief was coming off of her. She just really maybe slept on something all night, and she needed to get off her chest. And unfortunately, as a nurse, we're that person. You know, sometimes you gotta just stand there and take it. And unfortunately, it's not like we work in McDonald's where we could kick them out. We're taking care of their family member, and tensions are high, so there are going to be times when they come for you. And this day I was really patient, but sometimes it does get to me. But in the end, you really just have to think that this is their family member at their worst time, and not only is the patient under a lot of stress, but so is the family. This truly is one of the hardest parts of being a nurse, is dealing, because most of our job, we do skills in between, but I'm not always doing compressions. I'm not always doing catheters or IVs. Most of my job is just knowing this information and being able to communicate, being able to take what the doctor is saying and put it into words for the family, being to take what all the therapies, speech, occupational, physical, specialists, everything that they're saying gets filtered through me and goes to the nurse. So all of my job really is communication with a little bit of skills in between. And when I first started in the hospital ever, this was hard to control because I would take a lot of these things personally, and I would drive home irritated or come home mad. But what good does that do for me? You know, at the end of the day, we get to go home and we get to leave that situation. We're only there for 12 hours. And I say I can deal with any patient for 12 hours. I can even deal with them for 2 to 3 days in a row. Thankfully, that's all we work in a row usually, unless you work your 5 or 6 in a row, but I don't do that. And by the time I come back the next week, I have a whole new set of patients. In this video, I really just wanted to open up the discussion that if you're a nurse, try not to take it so hard, because I know I have. I've been at the bedside for 6.5 years now between being a nursing assistant and a nurse. So I've seen quite a bit. I've had quite a bit of people yell at me, but you really just have to take yourself out of the situation and try to look at it from their perspective. There's this one episode of That 70s Show, and I never really watched that show, but I did see this one episode when I was younger, and the mom is working in the hospital. She's a nurse, and she takes her son with her. These are the main characters, whatever. And they do all this stuff. Family is yelling at her. She deals with death. She deals with all this stress, and on the way home, the son looks at her because they're both driving home. It was Take Your Son to Work Day, and he says, "How do you do it?" And she just kind of looks at him. She doesn't say anything, and he starts crying. He's like, "How do you do it?" And she turns on the radio, and they just start singing. And that's kind of how you got to get through it. You just got to keep pushing. Oh, Sophie's at the door. But that is it for this video. If you haven't seen enough of me yet, go ahead and check out one of my other videos. Give this video a like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.